Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Khairunnisa Audi Miranda. My student ID number is 1707050071. And in this video, I'm gonna explain my feminist stylistic analysis on a poem. The title is Her Kind and it is written by Anne Sexton. But first, I'm gonna explain what is feminist stylistic. Feminist stylistic defined as the sub-branch of stylistic which aim to account for the way in gender concern are linguistically encoded in text, and which attempts to do so by employing some of the frameworks and models pertaining in the stylistic toolkit. It argues that there is a male hegemony in both the treatment of women in society and their characterization in literary works. Feminist stylistic therefore seeks to formulate an authentic counter-image of women through their writings. According to Sarah Mills, describe feminism as a commitment to opposing system that oppress and discriminate against one gender, especially women. And feminism is born from thinking that is aware of sexism in the system of society that gives rise to injustice in treating women and men. Sarah Mills to combine the concept of feminism in the text. So she said it is feminist stylistic. And in this analysis, I will use the feminist stylistic proposed by Sarah Mills as the analysis tool. I'm going to use three levels of language, which is the first is level of words, second is level of sentences, and the third is level of discourse. As I told you before, I'm going to analyze the poem by Anne Sexton. The title is Her Kind, and Her Kind is a short poem which, although not directly confessional, deals with the nature of woman's role in life and the alienation that can bring. And it has strong imaginary, like that from a fairy tale, hints and death and sexuality. I chose this poem as my data of analysis because I think this poetry is suitable to be analyzed by using feminist stylistic. This poem has 3 stanzas written by Anne Sexton. Anne Sexton is a feminist poet known her highly personal confessional verse. Anne Sexton is a name not so unpopular, and she spent most of her childhood in Boston and found early acclaim with her poetry. The theme of her poetry is basically include her long battle against depression, suicidal tendencies, and various intimate details from her private life, and including her relationship with her husband and children. And Sexton's poetic career was encouraged by her mentor. She allowed the poems to be published only after her death in 1974. And because I'm going to analyze this poem according to Sarah Mills, so I'm going to analyze it with 3 levels of language. And the first is level of words. In this poem, I found that there are 2 words that has different meaning in people perception about female gender and different of position. And wrote that to show people that female position in different words. In the poem, we found out that there are words that actually can be defined as female, such as witch, woman, and her. As we know, witch is a woman thought to have dark powers and magic powers, especially evil ones, which popularly depicted as wearing a black coat and pointed hat and flying on a broomstick, and which also usually related to a dark world that is not desired by human in general. And then there is a woman word. Woman is a female person associated with particular place, activity, and occupation. In general, woman is the mention of female adults in general. And there is her. Her is used as the object of a verb of preposition to refer to a female person. Here we can see that there are 3 different mentions of woman in this poem. And woman is a normal adult female who has a natural role in life and the alienation that can bring, while witch is the opposite, and witch here is more describing the other side of a woman who is actually not wanted by society, while her is depicted as a figure of sight that is in the woman in this poem is not mentioned by name but written with I. And the second is level of sentences. A word can have its own connotation when the word is combined with another word and in a sentence or in a phrase. In a gender perspective, according to Sarah Mills, words that are individually neutral can have sexist connotation when it becomes part of a sentence and in context certain. In the first stanza, we can see dreaming evil, I have done my hitch. Hitch is an unusual word to use and done my hitch even more challenging to understand. And to hitchhike is to travel on the road climbing a lift. And something like this is not usually done by women who has already become a mother. And there is lonely thing, 12-fingered, out of mind. A woman like that is not a woman quite. The sentence explains the witch word that appears in the beginning of stanza, and it means this is not the ordinary witch. She has 12 fingers, which makes her a bit freaky and is bound to alienate people, is lonely and doesn't function well in the daylight, doesn't get on in the 9 to 5 world, and doesn't quite feel complete woman when she is in this mode being. As we know that usually woman is in the 9 to 5 world. And then we can see in the second stanza, there is winning, rearranging, and disaligned, as woman like this is misunderstood. We know that woman is stigmatized for living life unconventionally, are misunderstood by society, and here the person that not written the name in candid fashion admits that she has experienced society's wrong judgment. And in the last stanza, we can see, where your flames still bite my thigh, and my ribs crack where you will swine. A woman like that is not ashamed to die. In here, Sexton is presenting the reader with the idea of 17th century witch, and that all women are potentially threatened by society if they are deemed unconventionally and unworthy. The person in the poem claims that she is not ashamed to die or for living an alternative life because she has done no wrong. Then she blames the society for it forced individuals to conform, and if they find fault, then these individuals are put on trial and ultimately eliminated. And the third is level of discourse. Sarah Mills said that this level analysis will link the word usage and sentence with certain ideologies conveyed through certain language patterns and structure. And we know that Her Kind is a short poem which, although not directly confessional, deals with the nature of woman's role in life and the alienation that can bring. It hints at death and sexuality. The poem attempts to capture this idea of the woman with multiple personalities, expected to conform to society rules and norms yet unable or unwilling to respect the self. And the discourse written in the first person, Her Kind is a poem about subversity, the speaker acknowledging that she has been all the three personas at some time in her life, the witch, the mother, and the adulteress, and it is stated matter-of-factly in the last line of each stanza, I have been her kind. The speaker has been a witch, it is metaphorically of course, and possessed by a demon spirit, which immediately suggests that it's the person of supernatural, and inhibiting a world beyond normal thought and culture. And we can see in this poem the language used is dark, weird, and a little bit gothic. In conclusion, this poem entitled Her Kind by Anne Sexton contains feminine language that support the idea of a woman's natural role in life. It has a strong imagery, and like that from a fairy tale, and hints at death and sexuality. The poem attempts to capture this idea of the woman with multiple personalities, expected to conform to social rules and norms yet unable or unwilling to restrict the self, which is unstable, and the boundaries are tested by such characters as the suburban witch, who is also the wild mother and the faithful femme fatale. And for me, it is written beautifully and meaningfully with the word, sentence, and discourse that support the idea of the main point. And I think that's all for my analysis, and I hope you are enjoying this video. Thank you.